What's up, Hornet Nation? I'm Ravi Vasant.
And I'm Peyton Blaylock, and this is Greenhill Today.
This is our first episode of the 2022-2023 school year, and we are super excited to have another year of Greenhill Today.
Here's some interesting stories from the first few months of school.
Junior Ein Park finished 5th in free dance and 9th overall at the National Solo Dance Final in Santa Clarita, California for figure skating.
Senior Talia Dower and sophomore Aditi Vikram were selected for the High School Honors Performance Series and will play the flute and the clarinet in Carnegie Hall next year.
The two upper school quiz bowl teams competed at the St. Mark's School of Texas Invitational on November 3rd. The Greenhill A team finished 4th place in the varsity division, and the Greenhill B team took 3rd place in the novice division.
The World Cup has taken Greenhill students by storm, catching the attention of everyone around campus.
Are you a big soccer fan?
I'm a huge soccer fan.
Has this World Cup made you a bigger soccer fan?
Most definitely. Seeing the American team progress as far as they did really made me like soccer a lot.
What have been your favorite moments from the World Cup so far?
I'm going to have to say Argentina versus Mexico. Messi scores the first goal of the game, completely shifts the tide of the Argentinian soccer team, coming off a tough loss for Saudi Arabia. You know, that just showed that Messi's the GOAT. End of discussion.
Would you say that this World Cup has made you an even bigger soccer fan?
Without a doubt, because this is the first World Cup where I feel like I've been conscious to everything that's going on, and I've actually been able to watch every single game from start to finish for the most part.
How did you feel after the USA lost? Like, what emotions did you feel?
So we were in Houston at a very outside venue, and it was really sad. Everyone, you can just tell, everyone was really just upset.
With a lot of the soccer games being during school, how have you adjusted to the schedule?
Well, it's kind of a pity because we missed out on a lot of minutes, a lot of big moments of the World Cup. It only happens every 4 years. But I did very much enjoy the time where the U.S. played at 1 p.m. and the lecture hall was open with a big screen. And we had a lot of people come by. Everyone was chanting. Everyone was supporting the team. And they brought out a big W, which was great for the school.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juan. The first Greenhill musical was performed on November 17th and 18th. The play is called Big Fish, a story about a man telling his larger-than-life tall tale stories to his son. Now we'll send it to Aman, who is with the main actor in the play, Quinn Graves.
Thanks, Peyton. We're here with Quinn Graves from the musical. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really glad to have you here with us.
Of course.
So our first question is, can you just go over the plot of the Big Fish?
So Big Fish is really focused on Teddy's character, Edward Bloom, as he is interacting with his son. He and his son didn't have a great relationship as his son was growing up because Edward was a traveling salesman. But now that Edward is older, he's succumbing to cancer, and his son is now coping with the fact that Edward has told all of these tall tales, and his son, Will, doesn't think he knows a whole lot of real factual information about his dad. So it's kind of, most of it alternates between the present and the past, where the past are the stories that Edward is telling, and the present is more about Will focusing on how he's going to, function without his dad and trying to learn more real stuff.
Okay. So from the support you saw throughout Greenhill, whether it was through social media or people showing up to the show, how did it feel to have the school supporting the Big Fish musical?
I think it was definitely, it's still strange to me even after 3 years of doing it, because the first year was online, so we kind of we did videos. It was not a live show. Last year was phenomenal partly because of the show. Everyone knew the show and wanted to see it. And this year, even though people hadn't heard of the show, there was still a great, we had I think 400 for the first show, 300 for the second, and 400 for the third, which was a lot of people. So I think that the support was phenomenal. I saw friends there every night. People from out of school too came. But I think in terms of Greenhill community support, it was fun to see people kind of rally behind that and show up on last year I think we did more weekend shows and not really during school, but this year we did it a Thursday and a Friday. So people still were coming despite it being, right before Thanksgiving break and on school days.
Okay. And we know you've been with improv for a couple of years, so how does that help your acting career, and how did that help specifically with the Big Fish musical?
I think definitely with improv, it makes it so, because improv is so reliant on physicality. If you're just kind of a bland character, nobody's going to laugh at it. It's not going to be very interesting. But if it's big movements, it's big characters, it's big choices. So tying that into a show such as Big Fish, where it was described as, I think, a bigger than life tall tale or something like that. That ability to be able to bring in that aspect of making something exaggerated to an extent that everyone, like in a huge theater, can see it, that definitely helped, because it made it so that I was able to project both my movements and my facial expressions and my words to that big audience. And then also it definitely helped with the rehearsal process, because there's a lot of moments, and even in the show too, there's a lot of moments where something goes slightly wrong, you have to figure something out, someone forgets a line, whatever it may be, you have to come up with it on the spot to fix it. One example that comes to mind was, I think, during Crybaby a couple years ago, one of the major set pieces just broke on stage during a production, and an improver, Josh Flowers, just in character fixed it and got it off stage, and everything went on as normal. So I think there are a lot of perks to being able to just interact with people and also be able to create a character.
Okay. And how was this year's performance different from other performances in past years?
I think this year was, so one big difference this year was the amount of new people we had in the production, and also just the size of the cast. The size of the cast this year was 51 students, including tech, which is, I think, like 14 or 15 more than last year, which is a considerable amount in theater, because like that itself, those 15 could make their own show. So it was a massive cast, and then also like 23 of those people I think were new to Greenhill Theater. There were like 14 freshmen, I want to say, and then a bunch of other people who just joined for the first time. We had a couple seniors join, a couple juniors. So it was a lot of new people who didn't really know it, and yet they were still able to rally, especially because it's a massive show. Like that show, even for a really experienced cast, is difficult to put on. It's got a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to do. But I think that even the new people were able to hunker down and focus and learn the ropes, so to speak. So that was one of the big things that I noticed this year.
And our last question is, do you have anything to say to people who are looking to start acting soon or start joining other Greenhill performances in the future?
I think definitely do it. It's worth it every time. So at the end of productions, or right before the shows, we have senior speeches, which is all the seniors when it's their last show, or just as a senior. Like some of them are doing the play, but they did a senior speech anyway. And they talk about their experience in theater. And one of the things that always hits me is not the people I have known for years. It's the people that have only been in one production, and they still all attest to how close the group is. So it's not just the skills that you learn in acting, which like it's useful for everyday life. You know how to talk, you know how to react and listen, but it's also the community that you build in theater, that everyone, even the people who are new to it, feel like it's just as close as any other group you can find on campus.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Quinn.
Of course.
It's great to see how many students came out to watch and support the musical. I saw the musical and I thought it was incredible.
I hope even more people will show up to support the spring play.
That's it for today's episode. We'll see you all next time on Greenhill Today.